let's start with obviously the first game of the year, the first game of Thanksgiving, I should say, is always the Lions and the Lions and the Green Bay Packers in Detroit. As somebody who covered as a columnist in Detroit, the Lions for 20 years, Martin, you know what a holiday it is. Martin went to high school in Michigan and suburban Detroit or whatever. It's a big deal. But today was really a huge game for the Lions as far as playoff implications. Of course, winning the division. You know, now the Packers swept the series, and Green Bay gets it done. But I do want to say this, and Martin, then I'll get your takeaway from today. And I've been saying it a lot. I'm not going to beat my chest. Packers win at 31-24, 4 touchdowns by Jordan Love, fourth down plays. What were the Packers? Three for three, and the Lions 0 for 2. But there's a couple things I take out of this. First, before the season started, I said the Lions wouldn't make the playoffs, and I feel even better today with the whole at 7-5. They could easily be 6-6. They got a gift from the Giants last week, but they won the game, so they're 7-5. Packers, Bears. We'll see where the Bears are. You know, they got a tougher schedule at the end, but they're in a tough spot now, and the Lions have some tough games as well. Dan Gamble, I've never been a fan of. Everybody told me I was crazy, Meshuggah, all that. They love him. He's a motivator, and he's fearless, and all the other stuff. Give the Lions the identity. Again, going for things on fourth down, not taking the 3 points sometimes. 3 points add up, whatever it is. But I'm convinced now more than ever, it's a wrap. And what I mean is the Lions' window, when you go back and think about the last 2 years, going to the NFC Championship game, Martin, destroying the 49ers in the first half. You don't go to the Super Bowl on that. You're 30 minutes away. Last year, you go 15-2, and you have home field throughout the playoffs, the number 1 seed. Washington, with a rookie quarterback, comes in, Jared Goff, 4 turnovers. You get blitzed, you lose to that team in a run that should have been your run to get you there, right? And it didn't happen. And now I'm looking at it. I'm not surprised by they lost both coordinators, the step that they've taken back, where they are. And I'm convinced that this window has closed on the Lions, starting with them not making the playoffs. Your takeaway.
Yeah, I'm not there at all. I don't think this window is closed, but I do think that this game today was one of the, I think the fallout from today's game and that fourth down play that Jordan Love completed to Dontavian Wicks is one of those that is truly going to swing this division. Prior to Matt LaFleur had I know he's now 3-0 in the division. Last year went 1-6, 1-5 in the NFC North, and still was able to make the playoffs. That's not happening this year, especially with the emergence of the Chicago Bears. So when the Lions let this game, to me, slip out of their fingers, especially with the way they played in the first quarter, you had bad calls on both sides that impacted the way that the game ended up playing, but none of them that ended the way that impacted the end result of the game. The Lions letting this one go obviously impacts their playoffs, impacts their ability to win the division tremendously, impacts their ability to make the playoffs. But if the Lions' window is closed, then you would have been saying, or I'm not saying you, but if I would have believed that to be true, then I would have said the same thing about the Eagles this time last year or 2 years ago, as they were struggling through the regular season, not having the same vibes that they were supposed to be having. I don't think this Lions team has done it all.
The only thing I'm going to say is different is that the Eagles had gone to the Super Bowl. They might not have won, but they had already made that leap to the Super Bowl. So, yeah, I agree that they were struggling, but they had made a leap, and then the following year they didn't get back. They were 10-1, right? It was a lumpy 10-1. People didn't believe in them. So there's a little bit of difference. The Lions had a chance to get there, and maybe I would feel different had they gotten over that hump and gotten there, even if they had lost. I'm saying, that was your golden opportunity. Your second golden opportunity was going 15-2. And
Sure.
Now as you look at the division is better. You can't say that the Bears aren't better. They might not be exactly where they want to be, and they still got growing. This is Ben Johnson. You lost your 2 coordinators, right? Ben Johnson and them are better, And you can't. And the Packers are better.
That's
the problem with where I see the Lions now.
No, to me, the Lions have taken I would say a half step back. The rest of the division, save the Vikings, have taken a full step forward. Right, so I'm not saying that. I think that now you are looking at a really tight race down the stretch. Losing this game cost you, and it may cost you in the grand scheme of things for this season. But when I look at the Lions, I look at the structure that they have, especially on the offensive side of the ball, this team should be able to score points consistently this year, next year, going forward.
With this play caller, with Dan Campbell, you like him as a play caller?
I like him better than I like John Morton last year, and I think this when it comes to Dan Campbell.
You mean John Morton this year?
John Morton this year, yes. Yeah. In the first half of this year. Dan Campbell, to me, is the scheme and we lump head coaches into two different groups, tough guys and scheme guys. I think that Dan Campbell is a tough scheme guy. Now, he's better at being tough guy and motivator than he is scheme, but will take over that role when it needs to be, like it needed to be with John Morton in this moment. He's got to find somebody else to be able to take that role over, and then I think the whole team will get better. I think they missed on offensive coordinator this year. There's no doubt about it.
Well, they should have gone outside of the room instead of outside the building, especially with what is hanging in the balance. They should have gone out and hired the best available guy out there, and they didn't do that. They decided to – I just think when you got a team that has ready to win or you have all your pieces there – that's when you don't mess around with it. So now this season could wind up being a big step back, you know what I mean, as everybody else takes a step forward.
I think you look back at two moments in this Lions season where it really burns you. The Packers trade for Micah Parsons 2 weeks before week one, and that defensive line completely wrecks your brand-new rookie center, right? 20-6, and it wasn't that even close. Then you go back and you look at that hiring John Morton and then not taking the play calling over, and you saw the way it was going. They lost some games offensively. They should have been better. And then Eagles, the fourth downs against the Eagles were really atrocious. Those to me were the three moments that cost you this game, because I don't think the Lions in this game today got severely outplayed. I don't think if you look at the stats are pretty much even, passing yards, rushing yards. I don't think they got severely outplayed.
But I don't look at stuff like that as far as.
But if you're talking about the window, you're talking about how far are the Packers from the Lions. I don't think they're that far.
Yeah, but the difference I'm looking at is last year they were 8-0 at home, right?
Sure.
8-0. Now they're losing games at home. This was a big game for them. The Packers beat them in Green Bay. Okay, right? The Packers beat them in Green Bay. You watched last week against the Giants. Was that not a gift? That was a gift to me. That was a straight gift by the Giants. So I looked at that as that easily could have been a loss. It wasn't.
It was, yeah, but that's
ultimately. But it wasn't. And I look at how difficult it has been for them. This year, when this team last year was steamrolling everybody, that team is gone.
I got to say, we will be remiss to not say Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur going forward on that fourth down play to convert it to Dontavian Wicks, I believe it was, to seal the game. That was massive, and that's a play. For all of the things that we're talking about, the Lions, it's the Packers that made that all-in trade for the defensive end that's supposed to take you to the next level. Losing this game, especially blowing a 10-point fourth-quarter lead for the Packers, that would have been catastrophic.
Yeah, but it's catastrophic. I hear you. And if the Lions would have fighting for their lives, would have somehow came back and won the game or whatever it is.
It wouldn't even have been somehow. It could have been an incomplete pass. It would have got the ball at the 50 in a field goal game. But or a touchdown game.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean you're going to get in the end zone even from there. I get it. You have a good shot at it. You would have a shot if you get the ball back. But I'm just saying the issue that I have is that was a huge game for the Lions. Everybody knew that going in. That is – you can't allow them to sweep you and then to do it. If it was the reverse and you were in Green Bay, okay, I get it, and we tried to get a road win, but it didn't happen. Anyway, Lions lose. And 877-99 on Fox, 31-24, the first game of the day on this Thanksgiving. And that's what Dan Campbell sounded like after the game. I mean, I'm just. They are 7-5. Doesn't look like they can win the division. There's a lot of other stuff going on. It is incredible. Where are you on the Lions? I say the window, to me, it's obvious. The window has closed. This year, I predicted they'd take a step back, that they wouldn't make the playoffs. Of course, they're not mathematically out of it. They could still make it, but they got a hard road to go. And I look at blown opportunities the last 2 years coming into this year, and now changes. Martin's not on that boat. I am. Where are you?